All right, it's your classroom quarterback coming to you live with a special guest, someone who's very special to me and will be special to you after you get a chance to know her a little bit better. We got the one and only Shannon Fey with us. What's going on, Miss Fey?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. And for all of you who don't know, Miss Fey was our assistant principal at Head Middle Magnet, and we truly do miss her, but we know she's doing greater things in other locations. So we like to get a chance to know our guests a little bit. So I got a few questions here for you. Rapid answers, rapid fire. Are you ready?
I guess.
All right. I know you love to cook, right? I know you love it because you've given me some
Yeah.
recipes that has transformed my home. If you had to eat something every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh wow, that's a tough one. Probably something Italian. We like a lot of pasta and Alfredo sauce or spaghetti sauce or different things. So I'd say somewhere in that realm.
Somewhere in the pasta realm, huh? Now, what's your
Something
favorite
I
pasta?
don't need.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I make a homemade spaghetti and meatballs, so that's probably my favorite. I don't know, like pasta is pasta to me because I haven't tried that. That's something I want to try to make, but I've never like actually tried to make homemade pasta.
Mm. So spaghetti, the spaghetti noodle would be your favorite pasta of all the pastas.
Sure,
Okay. Now, have you ever stuffed the shells, the large shells? Someone gave me a
I have.
recipe for that. Okay. Is it pretty
I have.
simple?
It is. It
Okay,
is. You
great,
just got to
great.
find the large shells. Sometimes they're difficult to come by.
Okay. I got to try those. I'm going to try to make those for my boys. All right. Would you rather have an unfailing memory or instant problem solving skills? Like no matter what the
Ooh.
problem was, like instantly you would have a solution for it.
Um, I kind of like the idea of the instant problem solving, but I think in my role, a lot of the time I'm trying to get other people to problem solve. So maybe the unfailing memory, because I think as I get older, I can't remember things as well.
All right. So what's your favorite thing in your office right now?
Right now, probably my mouse pad. It's got pictures of my kids and my husband and just family all over it. So
Awesome.
probably my mouse pad.
Simple yet elegant. My mouse
Yeah.
pad. All right. And last question. What song best describes you as a teacher? And what song best describes you as an administrator?
Oh wow. Um, Okay, this is gonna sound silly, but as a teacher, you're the one that I want. Because kids just liked being in my class. They were a little scared of me at first because I kind of come out as a little bit like the scary teacher. But once they were in there, they knew that I was just really there to help and support them.
Hmm.
As an administrator, probably I'll be there for you, just working with the people. It's always got to be a partnership for me.
Cool. Now that first one, I don't know that one. Can you sing a little bit of that one for me?
No, you don't want me to sing. It's from Greece.
I know. I just want to try to see if I can get you to
Okay.
sing.
No, you don't want that.
You're the one that I want. Do, do, do. That's the one, right?
That's the one.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So they tell us as men, never ask a woman how old she is. Okay. So I'm not going to do
Okay.
that, but I'm going to ask, how
Okay.
long have you been in education?
This is year 25 for me.
25.
25.
So you started when you were 7?
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh man. So I snuck it out there, y'all. So 25, y'all do the math. She's 32. So she was 7 years old when she first started teaching kids. So it's pretty awesome. All right. So, and I got a lot of random crazy questions. Well, I won't say crazy, just random all over the place. But what's the best book that you've read about being a good leader that every administrator or anyone who wants to be an administrator should read?
Okay, I'm probably going to get the title not exactly right, but it's a book called Dealing with Difficult Teachers, I believe is the name of it. It's a Todd Whitaker book. I just think it really is beneficial in how to deal with people, how to make sure that we're focusing on those positive people in our building, but having those difficult conversations when you have to have those difficult
Mm,
conversations because unfortunately they come up. So I think it's a book I refer to a lot. So I'd say it's probably one of my favorites. I've read a lot of stuff, Switch is another one I'm kind of big on because it talks about the different ways that we need to work on our leadership. But I think dealing with difficult teachers or difficult conversations. I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact title, and it's in my office at school, and I'm at home.
Difficult teachers. You heard that, you difficult teachers out there. Stop being so difficult. Because like I've been very fortunate. Everywhere I've gone, I had great administrators. Like everywhere. I started off at Una Elementary, great administrators. Went to Glencliff High School, great administrators. Now at Head, great administrators. And I hear horror stories from some of my peers, and they're like, "Oh my God, my principal's always this and always." I'm like, "What are you doing?" Because like I'm a firm believer that if you like the kids, they just don't like me, coach. Okay, are you listening? Are you paying attention? You're sitting up, you're alert? I just can't imagine a teacher just coming in going, I don't like that kid. He's always
Right.
doing what he's supposed to do. So when I hear a teacher that says, they are always on to me, and they blah, 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 I'm thinking, okay, something's not right here. Are you being that difficult, teacher? So I think a lot of times, like I said, for me, because I've been so fortunate and blessed to have great administrators, I probably can't totally sympathize with that teacher because I've always been fortunate enough to have administrators who, once they recognize the way I work, they leave me alone and let me teach. And I
Mhm.
think that's that's something that we cherish as teachers. But as an administrator, what do you think allows you to not micromanage those who are under you? Like what is the thing that helps you to avoid that having to have a hand in everything?
Right. Well, I think one of the biggest things as an administrator, it's a lot like being a teacher. First and foremost, you have to build the relationships. And with that, that to me is the most important piece because if you don't have a relationship with someone, you don't know who they are, you don't know how they work. And so it makes it a lot more difficult to know what do they need in order to be supported, in order to have what they need on a daily basis. So I think building those relationships is kind of key. Once you know how people work and manage, then you can worry about the people you need to worry about and you can kind of let those others kind of do their thing and just check in on them to make sure they're doing okay, see if they need anything. But I definitely think that comes from relationship building, which was always big for me in the classroom as well.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's put you on the spot then.
Yeah.
You had a chance to be my principal for several years. Tell me, who am I? Who is this PE teacher of yours?
You are one that we could count on to just be doing what you were supposed to do. We could come over to the gym and check on you, but you didn't really need much from us. You didn't need a lot to be supported. But I know that my child personally enjoyed your class. When we do stuff at home that's related to physical activity, he's like, "Oh, can I do it like Coach Cody showed us," or things like that. So I think it's just you're great at that relationship building. And because of that, your classroom runs really smoothly. So you're one that we didn't have to do a whole lot of checking on, which was good on those cold days. So we didn't have to come across that breezeway
But I did.
every day,
I
back
was
and
thinking,
forth.
Lord, can those kids just come to me from there? Do I put a coat on every time I walk down? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. And shout out to Nolan for saying such nice things to me. We're gonna make sure he gets something special for that. All right. So you mentioned about as an administrator, not micromanaging the teachers, not having that feeling that you have to. It's a relationship building thing. It's a thing that deals with experience. Do you think it's necessary, or do you think it's important that an administrator served as a teacher first to be a great administrator? Do you think serving as a teacher is like a prerequisite?
I do think there's a whole lot more you understand having been a teacher. I think it's important to kind of build those blocks and kind of have those stepping stones so that you know what's going on. I mean, there are some administrators who have jumped right into it after a year or two in the classroom. I was in the classroom for 15 years. I enjoyed my time in the classroom. I wasn't ready to leave. I had administrators going, go to school, be an administrator. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. And then I did the instructional coaching thing and kind of started to feel my niche working with the
Mm,
adult population. So for me, it was really important. And I think I live and build off of those things. But I really think some of my time as an instructional coach is some of the most valuable as far as giving feedback and working with the adult learner instead of the younger learners.
So it was a stepping stone. It's like, I'm a firm believer that our steps are always being ordered and organized. And we don't even recognize sometimes it's
Hmm.
like, why am I serving in this capacity? And it's building you for the next step. It's building for the next step. So I mean, I've never, of course, me being so young, I wasn't in your class, but I heard, I mean, from everybody that I know that has taken you, and I've seen, on your Facebook, the way that people reach out to you, I can obviously tell you were that teacher that I would have loved to have been in your class, right?
Mhm.
Then you moved on to be a coach, and because you understand what goes on in a classroom and you understand the obstacles that teachers face, some of them are very good at handling them, some of them are not. I think that probably gave you the strength to, or the, I guess, the patience with people to coach them through their situations. And now you put on another hat and you put the assistant principal hat on. And I think all of those things you've learned from each step is what allowed you to flourish in your role as an assistant principal. Now, you mentioned, because I was going to ask you this, what pulled you out of the classroom, right? And so you had others who saw something in you, and they're like, "Man, you got to do this. You got to do this," and you made that leap. There's a lot of people who hear it and don't make the. I they didn't say it to me, but I had a friend of mine say he was at, I think, Hobby Lobby. This is how crazy it was. Hobby Lobby, and he was on another aisle from a principal of mine, and he heard someone talking and he heard my name come up. Now, this is kind of weird, right? My name is being discussed in Hobby Lobby. So he comes around the corner and he sees who it is and he starts to talk to him. And he was like, "Oh, you know him too?" And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "If he had his license, I'd hire him to be a principal right now." And I was like, "Man, that's just not even close to what I would want to do." You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because again, what I see in great leaders like you guys is, like you mentioned before, the ability to coach people up, but also have to make those tough decisions and have
Mhm.
those conversations that most people don't like having. That's where I think I would probably not do so well, you know? Yeah.
But
And go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
think no, I was just gonna say I think your positive outlook. I think you would do well. I think that it would be difficult. That's why that having those difficult conversations book might be a good book for you at some point. But I think it's just that goes back to knowing the people. You have to know how, just like when you deal with kids in your classroom. I know that with this kid, I can like give them a lot of explanation and they'll
Hmm.
understand it and be able to move forward. But with this other kid, I may have to call home a couple of times before I get them onto my train and we can keep rolling. It's kind of the same thing with the adults. It's just figuring out what works with them.
You ever had to call home on an adult?
I have not.
Put your wife on the phone. "Look, your husband is getting on my nerves. Tell him to carry the one when he's teaching that lesson on. Now you didn't have to do that one. All
No,
right.
I don't
So
think so.
now here was one of my favorite questions I came up with.
Okay.
I'm sure as an administrator, you've had to deal with a lot of frustration, right?
Mhm.
Tell me your secret for developing the perfect poker face.
It's funny. That's kind of hard sometimes. I think it's just, kids say funny things. So sometimes it's hard not to crack a smile. In my years at head, Dr. Williams used to get me every once in a while. I might be trying to have a real serious conversation with the kid, and she would step outside her door where I could see her and do some kind of crazy dance move. And I would try to keep my straight face so I could finish up with the kiddo I was dealing with. But I think it's again that relationship, because sometimes it's okay to laugh when
Mm,
it's funny. Kids are
yeah.
funny. They
Yeah.
say a lot of funny things, and even though it's okay to laugh and then say, that was really inappropriate for me to laugh. What you did was inappropriate, but I see where you're trying to be funny with me now. I think it's just being real with kids. You have to be who you are. I mean, I like to have fun too.
Now I wasn't talking about the kids. I'm talking about us difficult teachers.
Well, I think that's the same thing too, though. I think with teachers, that goes back to knowing what kind of person you're dealing with. Can I have a funny moment with them? Can I joke with them about something, or do I have to keep the serious straight face?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I think about, like, of course, your husband's a basketball coach, and, sometimes you have to not let the player know how much you're burning on the inside. Oh my gosh. Cause they can't handle that moment. I think one of the worst things as a player, you make a mistake and you're always looking over to see, am I getting ready to take you out? Keep playing. As a teacher,
Hmm.
you can't be so afraid of are they going to come to my room? Just keep teaching, right?
Right.
If you have a desire to be great in your room, you're going to make those lumps. You're going to have those lumps as you're growing, right? But you're going to every day your focus is going to be on giving your students your best. So if you have a day where you don't give your best, and that happened to be the day you got observed, don't
Unfortunately.
sweat it, right? Don't be like, at the end of the day, I just had one of those days. And a lot of times as administrators, especially if they've been in the room, in the classroom, they know that's not who that person is. That person just had a rough day, or that lesson just
Hmm.
didn't flow the way they wanted, because it's just like anything else. Nobody goes in the room and goes, I could care less if they learn today. They're like, man, this
Right.
is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting. And then it's crickets in the room. Like, y'all ain't liking this? You don't like the way I just showed y'all how to divide? That was so much fun. They're like, please do a
Yep.
magic trick or something.
Anything,
Do a
entertainment.
magic trick. It just so happens that's the day the principal walks in and say, all right, so today's your surprise observation. Oh, Lord. Jimmy won't sit down. He forgot his medicine today. Because I was doing observation one time, no lie, and I had a student, she was painting her nails in class, answering every question, but painting her nails in class. I didn't bother her at all. I let her keep answering the questions. So when I got done, I got the little feedback from observation. Your class was fantastic. I don't know if you noticed, but one of your students was painting her nails. I said, no, I knew that. Her brain, see, but you recognize that she was still totally engaged. Her brain needs a little extra something in that moment. So I knew, like you said, relationship building. I knew for her, she was still totally in. Now, if she was one of those kids that was in the back braiding somebody's hair, wasn't paying attention, hey, this is not a beauty salon. This is not cosmetology. I need you to focus in. But in her case, she was like, no, that is blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, she's with me. I'm gonna leave that
Yep.
alone. I'm not gonna fight
Yep.
that battle, right? So, I didn't mind that in my feedback it said, student, blah, blah, blah. Because again, I knew my student. I knew she was actually with me. Now, the other kid in the back, they weren't with me, right? So I may have walked by their desk and, continue to teach from this corner of the room just so they'll stay alert for a moment,
Yep.
all those little tricks that, you great administrators teach us. So as an administrator, you wear lots of hats. What's one thing you do to keep yourself from becoming burnt out? Like what advice would you offer another administrator on what to do to keep from burning yourself out?
I think it's important to have good friends, especially that are in the same role as you. I think it's good to be able to have people you can talk to about things, and maybe they're in your school and maybe they're at another school. I have a great friend who's another assistant principal in Metro. Obviously, Dr. Williams and I still talk regularly because I definitely consider her to be one of my dearest friends. But at the end of the day, I think it's having those conversations with people just to make sure you're keeping yourself grounded, making sure that the decisions you're making are benefiting the students. I think every decision made at school should benefit the kids. They're the reason we're there. Being a part of a strong administrative team is important. At my new school, I'm one of 3 APs and a principal. So it's really, I guess, different for me to be in a really big admin team, but
Mm-hmm.
having people to bounce ideas off of and talk to about what's going on, I think is very important. So I think it's just important to have those people that you can talk to. And, I mean, obviously my husband teaches and coaches, but he doesn't want to hear about my day most days. So we try to leave school at the back door on that one.
Oh, look, that's what us husbands be like, dang it, why did I ask how was your day? I didn't mean for it to go this long. This conversation's last. I just want to say fine, good.
And it was
Like,
good.
sweetie, how was your day? Well, at third period, Coach Cody came in. He took his shirt off at the gym. That, it's like, oh Lord, didn't mean to ask all that. That's wrong question. No, I'm sure he wants to listen.
Some days.
So now your new school, do you have way more students than you had when you were at head, or is it about the same?
So we have about 800 students. It was about at 1,000, and then they opened a new school in Williamson County this year that pulled some of the kids from 2 other schools, which made some of our kids go to these 2 schools that they pulled from. So we're at about 800, but we actually only have about 700 in the building because we have about 100 that are online for the year.
Okay.
So,
wow.
I mean,
So
it is a
700. So
larger building.
you're about 200 more than us, huh?
Yeah,
A
and
little over 200
typically,
more.
like I said, closer to 1,000. So I mean, we have a huge, like the team that you're on, it has really small as far as related arts. They call it fine arts here, but like we have a huge team of fine arts, and our kids have 2 periods of fine arts every day and different things like that. So yeah, it's a lot bigger.
Cool, cool. All right. Okay, here's a good one. What would you say is one of the greatest characteristics of a great administrator?
Ooh. Um, I think one of the greatest is being organized. I think with all the different, like you said, hats you wear or things that you're juggling on a day-to-day basis, you really have to keep that organization in perspective. I think because you're thinking about and you're answering so many questions and trying to make sure if this is a priority at your school, you're trying to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to towards that. It really helps to be really organized to help you make sure that all those things are happening the way that you want them to.
And it's funny because I had wrote my next question is organizational question, and you just said organized. And I was thinking, I said, I wonder if she's going to go back to the relationship building part, but organization is critical. And I'm a person that envies people who are super organized, right? I like to be organized, but I love working for people who are organized because it allows me to not have to think of everything. That's one of the things I loved about working with you and Dr. Williams is because I could just come in and teach because you guys are going to make sure we knew everything coming. There's no way you'd be left out or lost because I'm going to paint the picture for you. All you got to do is get on the boat with us. So what is a organizational strategy that off the top of your head you can think of, and you don't have to list a million, but just one really good one that every teacher and administrator could benefit from?
I'm a list maker. I make a list every day. Like today's priorities are this. And so I write down my list and check things off, add to it as the day goes by. It just really helps me. And then if I need to, if there's something at the end of my list that's still there at the end of Monday, then I'll put it on Tuesday's list. Just trying to kind of keep up with that. Especially in a school like we have over 50 teachers. So trying to keep up with all my walkthroughs and my observations. Like I have a focus each week that these are the 2 walkthroughs I'm going to get done. So I go ahead and add those 2 people to my list so that I know I want those 2 things to happen this week. Because we know with kids, things happen and I'm going to have to stop and I'm going to have to go do this and I'm going to have to deal with this and I'm going to have to do cafeteria duty and all those lovely things that are part of the day. But at the end of Friday, I want to make sure that if I was going to do 2 walkthroughs this week, those 2 walkthroughs happen. So by putting them on my list, it just kind of makes it keep it in the front of my brain so that I make sure it happens. Like
Cool.
this week is driving me a little crazy because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get my 2 walkthroughs done.
Oh, curse you, snow. Ruin
But I'll
her
take the snow days
walkthroughs.
too. I wanted to be done with walkthroughs before spring break. So,
Time for a virtual walkthrough. Teachers, turn your cameras on. I'm coming to your house. So is your list a physical list, paper, pencil, or is it electronic list?
I'm a paper pencil girl. I've tried to get on the electronic bandwagon. I've been adding stuff to my calendar electronically, but I still really like my paper calendar and a paper list. I feel like for
Feels
me that
good scratching it
well,
off.
it does drawing a line through it or making a check mark or whatever the case may be.
So am I on that list today? Does it say?
You are on my list for today.
Yes. Meeting with Cody. Scratch.
I think
Done.
that's the only thing on my list today.
Now I feel super special. I mean, lunch isn't even on the list. Oh my gosh.
No.
All right. All right, let me give you one more question and we'll be done for the day. If you could give every teacher one nugget of wisdom that would help them serve in their classrooms better as an administrator, what would it be?
I think probably first and foremost, build the relationships and then expect greatness from your kiddos. I think when we expect kids to be great, they try very hard to rise to that occasion. Same with adults. I think having high expectations is critical. So I think the relationships and the high expectations, if every teacher had those 2 pieces under their belt, I think school would be a wonderful place for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Fey. I pray
You're
that today
welcome.
you stay warm and safe over there. Make sure Nolan gets an extra cookie because he was said something nice about me. And I wish you many, many blessings at your new job.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. All right, guys, the classroom quarterback is out. I'm passing you the ball. Catch it, run with it. She's given you plenty of nuggets. If you're an administrator and you're watching this, you've been blessed. If you're an educator, you've been watching this, you've been blessed. Take it and run with it. All right. Until we meet again. See y'all later.